If you like the content I'm about to show you, would appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. Hey, I'm Smirky, and on the 16th of July, Astralis went up against the Titans of NAVI in the semi-finals of Cologne. They started the series a map down, losing Nuke 16-8.
Bit pops the head of Farley, options limited. And look how clean! Wide towards the vent, and oh, Blame, the only AK, fills the feed first. Rotates on their way. Perfecto on that top side. Config's done a lot with the Glock, but it's Perfecto with 3 quick kills! A triple to defend the site. Now the rotates in. He has help. He doesn't need it. He does not need your assistance. 4 kills from Perfecto. For Astralis to work with into this. Already that bomb ticking to secure the first. For NAVI, it's just Blame. 2 to find. Very light on time. And there you have it. NAVI dominant in the debut.
With the map down, Astralis has to win the map pick of Natus Vincere to stay in it. And they make it competitive.
I can hear, but mid control being taken with a pepper the step. Farley out window, he's going to be isolated, should be taken down, but more damage.
So much damage. Yeah, Perfecto catches some flak. Farley for the finish! He gets all 3! And he does. Bomb loose. This looks like 8. They're doing it! A 4v5 recovered by Astralis.
There's no time to plant here, they're not going to get the bomb down. Config again, he doesn't even get the frag, but it doesn't matter. It's just going to be simple saving the AWP.
He charging in, he posted up his config. Lays bit to rest, SDY joins the rest. And that's a quick end to round 12. They're up to 10, Chad, you set the marker. 9, 10. To keep hopes alive on Mirage.
One here wants to take the fight, the nade comes through and he can't get it done. It's just going to be Perfecto left and Blame will finish it. That is a 12-3 half in favor
of Astralis. Astralis showed both confidence and proactivity throughout their CT side, with a slight hiccup in round 14, which we'll talk about later. But little did we know, it would flip on their T side, showing timidness, and just looked apathetic.
Apathy is death, worse than death. Because at least a rotting corpse feeds the beasts and insects.
Apathy is death.
Apathy is death.
Statement: apathy is death.
The first round they threw was round 14 on the CT side, and it started looking pretty good. They had taken mid control, forcing NAVI to respect Astralis. But Farley decides to fall off on window and connector, while config goes ladder, and this looks like a straight communication issue. No one called for this gap to be open, allowing Bit to sneak through connector, into B, and getting the kill into Zipex, and converting it into a win from a 2v5. To fix this, I personally think it was fine for config, as from here, he can jiggle between short and window. However, for Farleg, I think he should have played towards jungle or this off angle that Nico likes to play to hold connector. This would have prevented the lurk, made sure there was no gaps in their defense, and Glyph could have swung out if Farleg needs his help. The first rifle execute will come on round 18 and started off pretty well. They threw a window smoke, limiting mid vision from NAVI, and a few seconds later, just executed. Glyph will go out first, gaining an entry kill, and they completely blocked electronic out with their smokes. Now there's no A player, and the best rotation is to go CT, it gives time for Astralis to get the bomb down. Right, Astralis? Oh. Up from 1 minute and 39 seconds, all the way to 1 minute and 9 seconds, they just sat at Tetris waiting.
Well, we're waiting.
Baiting like Goldnovas. Waiting for a retake that only came when they left at 1 minute. At this point, Astralis has very limited utility and will try to split A with 20 seconds left. In general, this is just a poor round with no target in mind. It would have been great if a player like Blame F was towards B and lurked out during the push, but I'll get more into Blame F's lurks later. But when they decided to do the same execute on a 4 spy and pushed out instead of baiting, it works amazingly, with a bit of help from the Tech 9s. The pistols are able to get out of ramp quickly and put pressure onto Bit, while Blame F peeks out of Palace and kills him while he's blind. Config and Zipex will try to gain more space by taking CT, and will go 2-1 in deaths. Even if they did die, it was a great round. They showed confidence, willing to take control of teammates, and they left their team into a 3v2 that they win. Name me a more iconic duo than Mirage and A executes. I'll wait. In round 24 we'll see a fake default, but will be an A execute. They'll start the round with a top mid smoke and an early flash. This isn't too bad, but from here you should be executing onto the site, as the CT side should be busy on mid. But well, Astralis will do.
You'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you will do nothing.
From the moment the top mid smoke lands to the execute finally happening, they wasted a minute just sitting on ramp. There was a molly and a smoke blocking ramp for a period, but there was plenty gaps between them to allow them to execute. So while Astralis just sat on A, NAVI became proactive and took mid control, collecting the information they want, and making Xipex's late window smoke useless. So when Astralis do execute, Glaive decides to molly himself into Palace, meanwhile the rest of the players are baiting each other, looking too afraid to go. When they do decide to grow a pair, their smoke starts fading, there's 10 seconds left on the clock, and the two NAVI players in CT will take advantage of this. But is it me, or is there someone missing from this? This lurk from BlameF is completely useless, and has no impact during the lead up to their execute or once it's done. I think it would have been fine if he created some presence on B, or he faked A, but nothing was made, and would have just been way more useful on the A bomb side. In round 22, Astralis will go for a mid default. Commonly teams will throw two waves of utility, the first being the initial to deny info and deny pushes, and the second wave to actually go and take it while exploring for map control. Astralis threw their first wave and watched for a push, which is fine, however they completely waste their second wave. The underpass players seemed timid when the second wave came in. BlameF looks to give it an attempt but will get blind by a flash, falls off, and then from here he just continues to hide when the second flash will come in and get Xipex's. NAVI will use Astralis' passiveness and just takes free liberty of mid. I doubt all the Astralis players would have died if they actually went out into mid, forced them back with their util, and kept their foot in the door instead of standing outside. And if you want to know a good way of taking mid, I made a video about Tabsen's T-side Mirage, which you can check out. Another default will be used in round 27 and looks to be better. They use their first wave of util to get out mid and get their foot in the door with config trained on short and BlameF playing anti. But later in the round, NAVI will double up apps, later killing Xipex's with a nice shot from Bit, but a trade from Glaive. At this point I would say they still have the advantage, they have more util, better guns, and even though it's a 4v4, it will favour the T side, as there will be gaps in the CT's defense that they can worm their way through. But what baffles me is that Astralis stays towards mid after their second wave of utility, waiting for a push. From the death of Xipex's, they stay scared on mid, with 3 players playing far back, not making any attempt to do anything. With a minute left on the clock, NAVI will swing out together and get a double kill onto the Astralis players, leaving them in a 2v3. Which, to be fair, Astralis almost brings it back, but lose the round later. Round 28 is a great round, where they actually went for control and pushed NAVI back. Astralis will have deagles, and Config will take his and make his way into connector, beating the resmoke. From here, he sits in a forward position, and later gets the kill onto electronic, but will get traded. This round shows they can actually push, take risks, and gain enemy territory. If they had rivals and players with config, this round could have snowballed very easily. It's a shame that this type of play didn't happen often during this match. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but round 29 looks like there were some improvements to their default. They weren't afraid to step into mid, the second wave of utility looks solid, and they actually challenged for control by taking connector. With this, they decided they want to do an A split, which in general is fine. However, when the call was made at 1 minute and 2 seconds, 3 out of the 5 players made their way through spawn and just took them 30 seconds. During those 30 seconds, poor BlameF and Follig were just left in the opening con with no util to protect them, nor to hold their backs. Bit will just walk out of ladder, and will use Follig as an extra kill. I do think the way they were waiting in con could have been different, where they were holding each other's backs instead of focusing on it. But if I'm honest, personally I don't think this was a great call for where the players were. I believe if they were a play defaulting A, which they hardly did in this game, and Config rotated at the time Glaive did, it could have been a solid attack, but it fails. Round 30 will be the deciding round if it is taken to overtime or onto map 3. Astralis make a promising fake default which actually looks convincing and makes their way towards B. Also, if you want to know why they threw these smokes, Spray created a nice video about the meta change with these smokes which you can check out in the description. But oh, that's weird. Astralis is moving through apps, but why did both Bit and Simple put their attention on the B bomb site? Well, both Config and Zipix made a lot of steps at the entrance of apps, causing Bit to hear it and Simple to rotate. From here it doesn't go too well, they fail the execute, they go into overtime, and they lose the series, getting knocked out of Cologne. Hope you enjoyed the video. This was something different for me, and if you want to discuss anything about the series, drop it in the comments below. I made a video about MoviStar's Vertigo CT setup, which provided a strong defense against Liquid. You could check that out. Apart from that, thanks for watching, see you in a bit.